Okay, hey guys, what's going on? I'm feeling good today. Got out of work. I'm a little tired, but I'm feeling freaking fine. Got my cookie. I'm trying to cut back, but this had happened. This is one of those fudge grams. I like this. No, to you scientist worshippers, and I'm talking about, not trying to offend the narcissists, the babies, and the insecurities. I debate with a lot of angry atheists online. And they always tell me that I'm stupid and uneducated because I don't believe in the scientific method, and that's why I believe in God. Well, number one, you just took a big steaming dump on good epistemology because you claim to have knowledge to know my own intentions and thoughts better than I myself did, and I would have to ask you what the philosophical grounding for your belief in that is, and I don't think you can give it to me next to basically self-stimulating next to some TV show celebrity like Bill Nye or Neil deGrasse Tyson, or sadly, even how I say it, was that idiot from that Big Bang Theory show, which is so annoying to me. If you like it, that's cool. I'm not knocking you, but everybody watches shows like Big Bang Theory and they think they're a scientist now, or they watch shows like The View and they're like, I'm a philosopher because I'm like the TV. This is okay. I'm not picking on a former narcissist. This is a mass epidemic of stupidity. People watch this TV box, and we've proven that news is controlled. I'll show you a video on that later. They're not going to the books. They're not studying the history of anything or actual philosophy. They let their masters on the TV box tell them what to think. But then with that classic Dunning-Kruger thing, where they think they're so superior, they think that they're great scientists and they have all these authority. It's crazy. Anyway. So I want to talk a little bit today about the, get away from that. I'll get back into my religion of scientism and science worship and all that crap. That I will always do, because that is a major problem in the universities. You believe in God, therefore you don't believe in science. You believe in science, therefore God versus science, choose. Okay, that's called the conflict thesis in the history of science, and most historians of science don't even believe in that. We understand that there's two main people, John William Draper and Andrew Dixon White, that were responsible for this whole pitting God against science kind of thing, and both of them had political motives. Anybody that's familiar with the history of science understands this. I would suggest some of the lectures from the Great Courses again by one of my favorite historians of science, and I love the way this guy teaches. This guy's one of my best professors on earth, hands down from what I've seen. His name is Dr. Lawrence M. Principe. He's out of Johns Hopkins University. Yes, we don't all learn about our science from Sheldon Cooper and science fiction novels, okay? Some of us are very educated. Now, you keep saying we're stupid because we're religious, but the truth is we have done our homework. Even we creationists, we spend a lot of time studying evolutionary theory, evolutionary biology, the history of evolutionary thought, the philosophical origins in which it came, the ancient mystery schools from which the Greeks borrowed their ideas. We actually do our homework. We study debate. We study logic. We get our hands dirty, and we have an argumentative, combative spirit, because that is where the best ideas forge in the fire. Iron sharpen iron, baby. But strong people, smart people, that's how they engage. Weak people just go and tell everybody how stupid you are, but then won't confront you in an intellectual debate. I can't do anything about that, and that is generalized. I know I'm hurting feelings with these, and everybody has feelings these days, and everybody has hypersensitive. But I want to talk a little bit about the narcissist wrecked relationships. I'm going to have to erase that in a minute. The narcissist has a series of wrecked relationships in their past lives. And one of the things they will do is when they're in their newest form of supply, whatever that supply is, they always turn the newest supply against the old supply temporarily. They weaponize it and turn that new supply against the old supply by slandering it. And the reason they're doing that, again, the narcissist, as I said in my other videos, when the narcissist calls you stupid, inferior, ugly, fat, worthless, tells you, that nobody would ever want someone like you, tells you you're a failure, none of this, and it sucks, I'm not saying it's right. I hate this stuff. But this is why I've developed peace at this. None of this is an attack on you. They have an ugly soul, and it's all internalized shame that is being projected outward. That's why you can't take it personally. That's why you can't, whatever. Part of what drove me to my success in intellectualism was the insults. Ever since I was little, when somebody said, you're not good enough, inferior, I would internalize that shame. Oh, I must not be good enough. But rather than crying and moaning and going, okay, I'll take a gun and kill myself because you're horrible. No, I'm like, all right, screw this. I'd pray to God and say, Lord, give me strength, and I would go and prove them wrong. Now, that had its benefits because it actually made me good. You're too weak. So I learned how to fight and fight very well. So I became strong. You're very stupid. So I studied and I became smart. But I noticed that no matter how many people I always tried to prove wrong, and I got better and better in doing it. I get better at a lot of things that people ask me, why are you so good at so many things? From, combat to philosophy to history of science to music. It's because people were telling me you're stupid, you're inferior, you suck, and so I'm always going, prove you wrong, prove you wrong, prove you wrong. Guys, don't do that. It's a waste of time and energy. That's energy you should be using to serve the God who created you. All right? It had its blessings. God brings the greatest light out of darkness sometimes, but you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. God made you the way you are. Be who you are. Be what he wants you to be. Follow him and nobody else. No man's opinion's good enough, or no man's opinions matter. Your opinions are not, your sense of worth doesn't come from the opinion of somebody else. I said in a former video, think about it like this. Did the narcissist cut you down? Yes. They had to abuse someone, but even if it was somebody else, it didn't matter. Had somebody else been in your place that would have cut them down. And now that you're gone, they're going to end up cutting the new supply down. Ultimately, it'll be a little at a time, but they'll eventually figure out a way. And the people before you, they cut down. And then the people before that, they cut down, which is why they've wrecked their relationships. Deep down, they know they're the ones doing this. They know this, but they never want to be accountable. And when they look at their past, they understand that there comes a point where their former abused supplies get mad and they want revenge, or they want, I'm not talking about physical harm necessarily, but I'm talking about just like, how dare you? Why don't you, but again, they always avoid accountability. So what they want to do is cut off all ties. Cut off all ties. And so they'll say, you're stupid, and I hope your mom gets breast cancer and dies while I basically, self-stimulate to her pain, and then laugh and go, you suck. And then they'll block you, and then you can't respond, so that they leave you with that pain, and they're sitting here. They know what they're doing. And they know it's hurting you, and they're doing that on purpose. Don't let that get to you. Don't come back at them. And I'm going to do another video about why we should always leave a narcissist alone. I made mistakes. I learned from those mistakes. So I'm going to teach you, my young Jedi apprentices. So anyway, so assume that, you got ditched by your narcissist. You've been cut down. You've been insulted. You've been slandered. They're with this new supply, and the new supply is telling you how worthless and garbage you are. Now, you don't even know this person. And they're making all these accusations against you that were not true and never would be. And when you even try to reason with them, like, hey, have you ever asked me? They don't care. They don't care. The narcissist has already manipulated them, told them so many lies about you that they're coming back as a flying monkey, as a weapon against you to defend the narcissist, who they honestly, either they're a narcissist themselves or they honestly believe the narcissist is the victim and you were this horrible person, when it was the opposite. It was the other way around. But the narcissist is God. They're never accountable to anyone. You must be punished. And they're always the victim. So they're going to manipulate this new sucker into turning on you. But then when you try to defend yourself, the sucker will defend the narc with all of their heart. And then they'll block you. And then, if, it's a little bit like, let's say, translate into physical combat. The narcissist walks up and says, I hope your mom dies of cancer, then punches you in the face and breaks your nose and goes, ow! And then you go to push him to defend yourself. You touch me, I'll file assault charges on you. I will. See? God? Sucker. Middle finger in your face. I got away with it. No, you didn't. You suck. He doesn't like you. And he's still watching. That's why I'm making these videos. Anyway. But don't recontact him again. Once you're gone, get out of that. Stay out of that. Kim Wilson's. You love her before she drops her profanity. The love of God, if you're out of these toxic relationship with one of these freaking sick freak shows, don't go back. Don't go back. Don't contact them. If they contact you, block them. But don't insert yourself back in their life. Remember this also, because they're so disordered, their personalities are always fracturing. The narcissist who insulted you, who called you all these horrible names, is not the same person as the narcissist that's with the new supply. The narcissist that was with you liked horror movies and liked cucumbers and didn't like spinach and enjoyed going to the beach. The narcissist that is with them now hates cucumbers, hates horror movies, doesn't like the beach very much, and hates spinach or whatever. Everything's reversed or it's different. The narcissist is empty, so their fake personality. Remember, every personality is fake. Every person they have been with, they've mirrored, and whatever that person liked, they would forge their fake personality to mirror that person. So that they were always an ugly person, but it was the same ugly troll. But that ugly troll wore pretty masks. So when you're sitting here going, I miss all these good times, I miss all these things we did together, I miss all the times, they're laughing at you like, weak sucker. You actually think I would care about trash like you? Well, you're not trash, first of all. Secondly, no, they wouldn't care about you, but not because there's anything wrong with you, because they can't care about anyone. They think they do. When they think they're in love with somebody, it's because they've idealized them. No different than this remote control. This is my favorite remote. It makes me feel good about myself. When I play with this remote, I have all this power, and I feel good about this remote, and it feels good about me, and the remote and I are one and the same, and my remote, it's so wonderful. Look at my remote. Show my friends to my remote. It's an object, but they do the same thing with people. But if the remote fails me, I'll get angry like a small child and I'll throw it against the wall, kick it, screw you, I'll get a new remote. Now I got this remote. This remote's a better remote than you sucker. And then beat it with a hammer. See, stupid sucker. Inferior remote. This is my new remote. Now, then of course that one's going to break and you're going to go, oh, screw you, this is a new remote. And what they don't want is the new remote communicating with this remote. Because then they're trying to manipulate this remote. But if that new remote finds out what happened to the old remote, they might be warned and leave. But this remote and this remote can never talk unless this remote is attacking this remote and then leaving. But they're all three. The old remote, the middle remote, the new remote. They're all objects and they all serve a function. Now, I might have to adapt my hand to the way each remote works. Okay, this remote's a little bit different. When I ditch it, this remote's a little different, so I got to change my feel. Then this remote's different, so I got to change my feel here and adapt. Okay, think of these as people. People are objects. The narcissist creates a personality for this person, cuts it down, destroys it, devalues it, creates a new personality for this one, cuts it down, destroys it, and creates a new personality for this one, okay? What the narcissist cannot have at this new supply is contacting any of the older remotes. Now, the worst thing that can happen for a remote, the narcissist has to shut up these supplies. Now, let's take a difference. The narcissist ditches the first one. The remote gets sad, tries... The person, the operator, still keeps abusing it. This remote self-destructs. It commits suicide. The next one does. But then this remote is a super remote control. It's incredibly durable. It's incredibly durable. The narcissist tries to beat it. Comes back. Smashes it with a hammer. It won't break. Tries to flush it down the toilet. It won't flush. Sets it on fire, it won't burn. It keeps coming back and back and back and back. And now, oh dear God, this new supply, I'm going to lose this remote if it contacts with this old remote. But this remote is still a thorn in the side. Right? So this remote has to go. This remote is going to attack that remote. But ultimately, this remote is going to be worn down. This remote never dies. Now, the old remote should not insert itself into the new remote's thing. That's where I was going wrong. This remote needs to be independent and do its own thing. But this remote is going to take a YouTube channel and start telling everybody what's happening as a general rule with the old remote, with itself, with the new remote, and the idiot that keeps trying to abuse them all and keeps changing his hand to adapt to each remote. This is what narcissists do with people. So, let's say, women, you meet a guy who's the most wonderful thing that you've ever met. There's an old saying, things that seem to be too good to be true and true usually are. He'll say that his ex, whether it's a wife, girlfriend, friend, psychopath, abusive, horrible, so you'll think they're horrible. You'll think they're nuts. But keep in mind, even if they've gone a little Fruit Loops, your narcissist made them that way. You can't abuse somebody for real. You know, look what happens to these women that are beat up physically and sexually abused. They have all sorts of problems. It breaks their mind. That's what the narcissist is trying to do, to abuse you mentally. But then when you come after them and they say, look, you're crazy. Well, you're not. But you might appear to be because you're hurting. But they're the ones who made you that. And they know that. They know that. They will say, you're schizophrenic. You need psychiatric help. I'm not the one that's going out and using people and abusing them and throwing them away. See, I'm a human. I relate to other people. I'm this remote. But I'll be friends with this remote. That's cool. This remote I'd like to be friends with, but if we don't jive, that's okay. But we're not going to hate each other. If we could, I'd be friends with all of the remotes. Welcome to mankind and Jesus' love and plan. But then there's their angry narcissist who's too busy smashing hammers and smashing the remotes with a hammer and snarling at them because he doesn't know how to treat them. But then the dummy actually wonders why he doesn't have any remotes. Or she. I think of my friend's ex-wife. Oh, good. Now, the funny thing is, they're always telling new supply how horrible the old supply was. And then the supply before that is usually forgotten about, not asked about. But that's what you need to think. If somebody's too good to be true. What happened in your last relationship? Oh, they were crazy. Abusive. What about the relationship before that? Were they also crazy and abusive? And what about the other relationship with that friend? Oh, I had to end that friendship because this and that and this and that. Well, what about that other guy you used to hang out? Oh, see, I couldn't be his friend anymore because this and this and that. What about your ex-wife? Oh, she was cheating and she didn't know that. And what about the wife before, the girlfriend before that? Oh, she was a psychopath. So you have a friend that's abusive, a wife that's a cheater, an ex that's a psychopath, another friend that's totally abusive. Here's one that lies. Or you can assume Occam's razor and find what is the most likely scenario. Is it most likely the simple explanation? Is it that the ex-wife was a psychopath, the friend was abusive, the other partner was a thief, the former boss was a this? Or is it that there's a common denominator where everybody surrounding this one person, every single person surrounding this person's life happens to be a liar, a cheater, a charlatan, a thief, an abuser, blah, 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 slanderer? There's a common denominator here, and that's the narcissist. I mean, is it more likely, Occam's razor, to believe that it's just the narcissist, that it's everybody else around the narcissist who just happens to have the worst luck in history to befriend all these horrible, terrible people? Or is it that the narcissist, the more likely explanation is that the narcissist has this sick, foul personality, and all these people are unfortunate to get into their toxic web, and then he devalues and discards them, and then has to keep creating these new fronts? That is the explanation, and that is exactly what they do. And that's what they do. And it's never going to change with them. Don't insert yourself back in their life. It's a mistake. I made it. Don't do it. Find your happiness. Find your joy. There's so much to live for, and these scuzz buckets are not it. Let them grow old and crusty. I hate that. Let them grow old and crusty. Let them continue screwing up relationships. Let them die alone. You know? Again, they think mankind is sick. They don't like mankind. They hate God. They hate mankind. They have this foul thing about them. So they're always looking for somebody to fix them. They think that if they meet the right person, that person will fix them. They can steal some of those good qualities through osmosis and then take their toxic qualities and bash that person. So they want to switch roles. I'll take all your good qualities on me, and try to absorb and fill that black hole, but I will bash you and insult you and ultimately relieve the carcass of you, what's left of your former self. That's why so many people after narcissists don't believe that they're shadows of their former self. I think, honestly, I'm better after this. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm still happy, but I'm stronger. And I've been more of a blessing to be able to help more people through a lot more abusive situations. I talk to people online all of the time. Yeah, I only have a few that actually leave comments, but I've talked to several people in the workplace and in society and online and on Facebook that have dealt with these sort of things. And I'm always meeting people that have dealt with these scuzz buckets. And I've been able to offer some seriously good advice and help some people. When my friend went through a horrible thing with his, psychopath, narcissistic, freaking freak, nut job, excuse of an ex-wife, and she is crazy. He'd come to me, and I'd have a lot of answers to help him out, and I think it has helped him out, and he's admitted that it's helped him out. So, if I could help one person out of this, it was worth it. I got a ton of knowledge, because remember, I was always called stupid and uneducated, so that I had to prove him wrong. I started studying. I got my own personal library. My house is basically a study. And so that came out of it. I met a lot of new friends in the anti-narcissistic community out of it. I was able to help my friends. I was able to help people through bad workplace situations. I've been able to help a lot of people. It's brought me closer to God. It's also helped me warn the younger generations that there's a subhuman race out here that would exploit them, and I have to protect. A good society protects our youth. Okay. I like kids. I don't want to have any of my own because I don't have a wife. I don't care. I'm happy. I'm very happy. I like my singleness. I like having my own bachelor pad and doing my own things and staying up as late as I want, playing my guitar as much as I want, making YouTube videos like this. Don't take the narcissist back. Stay away from him. Enjoy your life. Remember, what is it my saying? It's not that there's anything wrong with you. It's not that there's anything wrong about you. It's that there's nothing right about them. Peace. Peace and love.